Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Retail Talks. I am your host, Cody Fitzgerald, and super excited about our podcast today. We have another guest. Our guest today is Mark Denkler, the president of the NSRA, which is the National Shoe Retailers Association. Very excited to have him on today and really just to learn from you. We've been friends a while now, love being a part of your organization, and I really just want to promote it, learn more about you, learn more about what you guys do, and how it helps our retail clients. So, what I want to do first is just have you introduce yourself, and your background inside of retail, as well as just who the NSRA is, and really who it serves, and some of the membership and stuff like that, and then we'll kind of go into a bunch of questions. So,
Okay, Mark Denkler, National Shoe Retailers Association. I was on the board for the last 20 years, but the last 3 years as president. I was chairman of the board twice in 2011 and 12, and then 2019 and 20 until I took over the presidency from our former president, Chuck Schuyler. But I had a retail store for 29 years. It was in the family for 69 years. And then before that, I was in banking for 11 years, working on Fortune 500 lending to those companies.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, so kind of tell me, just to kind of kick things off, just tell me more. Obviously I know, but tell me more just about the NSRA, the membership it serves, the major benefits of the organization, things you guys do for shoe retailers. We've been involved in a lot of trade shows with a lot of the talks you guys will do, the continuing education just down in Atlanta. You guys had a terrific presentation. So just kind of tell people just what the NSRA fundamentally does and just for the members.
Well, most people probably don't know we started in 1912 when
Hmm.
shoe stores got together and figured they were better together as a group than as separate. And even though you might be down the street, it's still good for everybody. Malls have 33 shoe stores in a regular mall. So, we're all trying to go for that customer. But our whole goal is to help retailers, also to help our vendors. I mean, we partner with vendors, manufacturers, be it a computer system like Omni Digital. I try to find products that our members can use to do better in their business. So we do the benefits like that. We do a credit card program. We have a shipping program. Today, we just changed from a FedEx partnership over the last 20 years to a UPS partnership over
Wow.
going forward. But we're really excited about it because we compared it to our current program, and people were saving anywhere from 15 to 30% over our current FedEx program. I've been working with this company, just talking for the last 2 years, working for about a year and a half, and then finally just made the switch.
Wow.
Had a great partnership with FedEx, but this was just better. When it comes down to it people want to save money.
Yeah.
We if you're shipping $50,000, I can save you $7,500. Wouldn't
Yeah.
you rather have that in your pocket?
Yeah.
As an aggregate, our members will save over $1 million, up to $2 million in savings on their shipping.
Wow. Yeah, that's I didn't know
So
that
we
the
provide benefits. And then the last thing is education. As you said, we just had an Atlanta show. I think we had 135 people at the show with Carrie Palmer of Schuler Shoes. She told people about marketing right up your alley. But it was just an invigorating program. People sometimes you have events, people leave early. Oh, I got to go see my customers. Nobody left early this time.
yeah.
It was just she captured that audience, and everybody stayed almost right till 9 o'clock getting questions answered. So it was
Hmm.
really good. The outlay of what you guys are doing. It was interesting. She said 98% of what they do is digital.
Hmm.
So in their marketing, and this is Schuler Shoes with 10, 12 big stores. Their smallest stores probably 6,000 to 15,000. So a great one of the best independents in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Which is also, really good segue just into so kind of hit on the benefits. One of the things I took away, I remember being at the leadership event you guys have typically. How long has it been in May? Is it typically every May? I know it was, I guess,
It,
in the winter for a while, but this year it's in May, and I remember being at the
Yeah.
one in Tucson, a year or two ago, and just you guys. I'd love for you to talk a little bit further. I'm a big data guy, as you know, big nerd on just different stats, and that the business um, report that you guys do. I think I'd love to just know more about like your key takeaways as a retail owner for many years, and then now seeing the data from this report, and just even people's feedback of that you hear on it. And my one that I took away that we were talking about pre-show was just that to tell them that stat. I just found that really interesting. And any other interesting stats from the report? I won't steal your thunder.
Uh, we've been doing the business performance report for almost 100 years,
Wow. Okay.
and
Wow.
so we do it about every 2 years, every 3 years. COVID, we were about ready to start it, and then we all closed down. So we took a delay for 2 years. So our last one, we did it on 2021 data,
Mm-hmm.
which was a little skewed because people are coming back from COVID. But we took ERC credits, PPP credits, took that out of the bottom line, and then make those. But I think the stat that you're most interested in comes with marketing. And I have the report here. In 2015, the average store spent 2.9% of their money on marketing, and it went down to 1.9 in 2021.
Hmm.
So the big difference in even 10 years ago is 3.3%. And it's always been 3 to 4% that you want to spend on marketing. But I think people kind of gotten lazy in that we don't do television anymore. You don't get the bang for your buck. Radio can be good if you have a great station in town that people like. And that the mailers and newspaper is almost non-existent. If you have an older customer that still reads a newspaper, it's great. But everybody went to digital. But what are they doing? They're doing Facebook and Instagram posts. And okay, you say your store has 300 likes or people following, not likes. I guess you like it.
Yeah.
You're only getting your data to those 300 customers. And then you probably figure only 10% of your Facebook posts are getting to that. So only 30 people are seeing your post maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
you know better than I. You're the expert in digital marketing. And that's why I like working with you guys. As I told you, my wife and I retired because she's like, I don't want to have to learn how to market in the new digital age. We knew mailers, we knew how to do advertisements in the newspaper, but just weren't getting the bang for your buck. But digital, what I've learned from you is where people go. But I'm amazed at the fact, at 1.9 down from 2.9, that means people are spending $10,000 less if you're an average $1 million store. Actually, the average was 1.2. But just for the sake of things, 1% of 1.2 is $12,000 less they're spending in marketing. How much more could have been if they'd spent more in marketing?
Yeah.
Carrie, one of the biggest takeaways I took, 98% of Schuler Shoes advertising is digital.
Hmm.
So that's where it's all at now. And
Yeah.
that's where people need to be. But if you're spending all of your time in the store, they don't have the time for it, or they're not the computer geek. I found in the past that people had young kids in the business. They had a great internet business and they had great digital marketing. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden, the kid wants to go somewhere else, so it's out somewhere else in the world, and there's something more like that they like to do. And then they lose that. And then guess what? Their internet business goes down. Their digital marketing isn't there because they don't have the expertise. I'd say older people use Facebook, younger people use Instagram, but videos, same thing. Carrie, another thing is they spend so much money on video content.
Yeah.
People want video. Even myself as an older person going through Facebook, what do? I go through the reels and look at these short 30-second, and if it's too long, guess what? I'll watch it for 30 seconds on a 2-minute video and I stop it because I've lost interest. So you have to learn what your customer knows and wants, which
Yeah.
is short 15-second videos.
Yeah. Yeah, so much to unpack there. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is we've done a couple podcasts on what we just call master classes. We did one on Lululemon, Decker brands, with their major brands being Hoka and UGG, and Hoka just very hot over the last 2 to 4 years. And we did one on Macy's and Starbucks. And the thing that I found in those reports that is like almost the complete opposite of your guys' report is they went over like 2020, 2021, 2022 data in their 2023 annual report. And every single year for all of those organizations, they were spending roughly percentage wise, it was the same amount of money. It was anywhere from 4 to 7%. So, for example, Decker Brands spent 7% of their revenue on marketing on a D2C basis. And I'm sure for in store materials and that marketing sum for a publicly traded company is a very broad, term. But, the thing that I think about is that this year, when they're talking as an organization, they're not like, how can we spend less money on marketing? They're keeping that percentage the same. And as they scale that revenue, if it's 4% and you go from 1 million to 1.5 million, well, now you're spending 50% more on your marketing, but it's still 4%. So I think that like that's the fundamental thing. I've run Omni Digital Group since 2017, and our roots are very deep within shoes. We work with hundreds of doors and over 125 different shoe retailers, and I'm blown away every single day by, I think, really just the misconception and the misunderstanding around, let's take Facebook. Because to your point, I think what retailers did, and I think you mentioned this pre-show too, is they think they have these platforms like Facebook or TikTok or Snapchat or any of them, right? YouTube, it doesn't matter. And they're free. So they think, okay, I'm marketing my business. I'm putting a post on Facebook. But I can tell you, 7 years ago when I started Omni, you would get about 60 to 70% of your page followers would see the post. Today, your number is very accurate. It's in that 5 to 10%. It's down drastically. And here's the funny thing that's actually quite interesting, and I know this because I'm in these platforms every day. The advertising product is not that much more expensive, because the way it breaks down is you think, okay, if organic eyeballs seeing it is down, the actual people that see that in regards to it is, if 60% of people used to see it and now it's down to 10%, you'd think, okay, there's more advertisers, so that's more expensive. Well, that's not necessarily the case. It's about $10 to $15 per 1,000 people you reach. So it's really one of those things where Schuler's spending 98% of their dollars in regards to digital. They're just seeing so much growth, within that. I'm sure as an org, I don't know how much they've grown over the last, say, 5 years or since they've really started doing that. But it's just where I would like to see more companies putting more dollars, into digital, and just getting that percentage up. Because we have clients all the time that, I estimate, like there was a client the other day, for example, that I'm not saying they do all their marketing with us or even all their digital with us because we only do so much, but I would estimate that they were spending with us based on their revenues about 0.9% on their revenues on marketing with us. And let's say that maybe for that month we were all that they did. They spent 0.9% of their revenues on marketing. That's just not enough. So what when you had your retail stores, what were you guys averaging from a marketing spend as a percentage of revenue?
We were 4 to 5.
Okay.
But the reason was I was in between two papers.
Yeah.
So as I told you, we did a lot of newspaper back then.
Yeah.
Older clientele that had the paper, but I was between two markets.
Yeah.
The Fort Lauderdale market is 30 miles away. The Palm Beach market is 15.
Yeah.
So I was between those, but our biggest spend was on postcards.
Yeah.
Because that went directly to the customers, been in your store before. Newspaper was really to get the word out of about a sale or certain thing going on and getting new people.
Yeah.
But your best customers already been in the store. They're familiar with you.
Yeah.
So you wanted to spend your time and money with those people. So we were very successful with postcard, and I'd say for the last 25 of the last 29 years, that was our best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
But as my wife said, who did all the merchandising and advertising, I'm going to have to learn something totally new.
Yeah.
So when our rent and long-term lease was coming up, we decided to retire because she didn't want to do that. That's why I love, that's your passion.
Yeah.
You love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I
And one
think
thing
that,
you
go ahead.
didn't mention
Yeah.
was digital marketing. You can tell if you've made a advertising to that customer that you usually know that they came into your store. So you can
Yeah.
get the results. You can get an ROI where if I do a newspaper ad, I spend $5,000 on it. I have no idea. I see a bump in business, but I can't tell you it was from that ad.
Yeah.
So now you can get co-op from your vendors are more likely to do co-op for digital advertising than they are for newspaper, TV, radio.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing that the number one thing I talk about with retailers is that we're working on some new analytic tools in at Omni in regards to just non-marketing data, because if there's anything that I see as opportunities, which is one of the questions I want to ask you next, for retailers is using their data effectively. Because the number one thing from a marketing perspective, and even just operationally, that these brands direct to consumer do is they use data extremely well because they have it all. Because
Yes.
when you buy something online, you're getting all of that data. So, I think it's something that we continue and will continue to preach with retailers is how are you using your data better in marketing? How are you using your data better in inventory? How are you using your data better in scheduling, with employees? Just how can you get an advantage over competitors? But in regards to just the biggest opportunities you see from being the president of the NSRA, you're talking with dozens, hundreds of retailers throughout the year. What was like the sentiment and even in Atlanta or just in the last 6 months? What do you feel like do you see as the biggest opportunities right now for brick and mortar shoe retailers from not even just in marketing, any aspects that you're hearing?
Well, I mean, I get so many people ask me, oh, how can the independents survive against the big box?
Yeah.
How can they survive against Macy's and those guys? Well, we know what's happening to Macy's. They're now worth more for the real estate than they are for retail stores.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but it's just like you can own your town. You can own 15 miles out. There's 69,000 people live in my town. During the winter, there's 140,000 people living, and then get the other 300,000. If I can own those customers, then I own my area. So when people say, how can a small store compete, is because we know our customers. My wife was a buyer for department stores. She was sending floral dresses to Denver for Easter, not realizing it snows on Easter sometimes.
Yeah.
So we know our markets, we know our customers. When I was in banking, I was wearing wingtips and Italian shoes with my Armani suits and things. But then when I came down, I was like, wait, I'm standing on my feet. I need to have something with a better sole, more support, get an arch support. So you can help our customers better because we know the product versus those stores just send everything. Okay, let's send them out to all 300 stores. We're every market. When we had 3 stores, one store in Boynton Beach was so much different than our store in Boca. So each store has a personality. You have to learn what those personalities ask, but then so you can turn quickly on a trend. You see something coming new in footwear. I mean, look at running. You mentioned Hoka. In 2013, they were a $1 million company. They'll be $2 billion in 11 years.
Wow.
On Brooks, those guys were 500,000-600,000 before the pandemic. With the athletic, everybody went to athletic shoes during the pandemic. They're $1.5-2 billion companies.
Yeah.
So there's a trend in athletic, which unfortunately carries less margin. So you have to turn that over a lot quicker.
Yeah.
To maintain your ROI, but that's what people are doing. But as I said, people need to just get smart into what they do. I mean, over the pandemic, most stores didn't have websites. So what they do for the 3-6 weeks, 2 months they're closed, they got websites. How am I supposed to show on my product if we're closed?
Yeah.
I knew I was closing my store, so I was doing FaceTime videos. I wasn't going to advertise in that, but everybody went to a digital omni-channel footprint.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I was just telling this to an NSRA member the other day that's out of North Carolina, and if every retailer, if every business, if every shoe retailer took this advice I gave and truly embodied it and ran with it, I think their business would literally double, and quote me on it, within 3 years if they became the king or queen in their town of their product. If every single person knew that you sold shoes in town, doesn't mean everybody's going to become a customer, but they would potentially buy from you. And I think that what I told this individual was, I was like, Dan, like, you have got to brand yourself as the place to come for footwear. And the way you do that in 2024 is with video, short, that 15, 30 seconds like you're talking, branding your store, branding your product, branding your experience. And think about this so logically. Like, think about this. This is crazy to me. Old shoe dogs, 20, 30, 40 years ago, they wanted to get that commercial on TV. Like, that was like the deal. Today, you can put a commercial on this thing anytime you want. Take it out right now and you can make your own commercial. That's insane to think about. Because 30 years ago, you couldn't just, let me take out my phone. There wasn't phones and let me make a commercial. You couldn't do that. But you can do that for pennies on the dollar now. And there are companies that have exploded over the last 10 to 20 years because of social media that have never had brick and mortar stores that are multi-$100 million businesses because of social media. So I think video is the way we do it, and I love that advice of dominating the thought and dominating your town of your product. So kind of last question here I want to ask, and then we'll ask one more.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was watching The Greatest Showman the other day. And
yeah.
I remember he goes into an interview. Oh, no, he goes into a bank to get a loan. What was everybody doing? Reading their paper.
Yeah.
Now you go anywhere, they're looking at their phone. So guess what? This is your most valuable tool, is your phone. Because what do you do? Okay, I got 10 minutes to kill in the doctor's office. Okay, I guess I'll go through Facebook or Instagram, see what my relatives and friends are doing, and then you're scrolling down.
Yeah, it just, retailers have to get in the game in a big way. It's 2024. Facebook's around since 2008. They have to get in the game. They have to do it in a big way. And I'm glad that Carrie hit on a lot of that down in Atlanta with 98% of that spend. That's wild.
Well, you and I talked the other day about a store that we know, a small market, that you've been doing all their advertising for 10 years without telling the people.
Yeah.
They've gone from 0 to 3 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
One store in a small market not that we can give names or the data, but they're spending, they're letting you handle all the marketing.
They do 100% of their marketing through us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do all of our services. They use our data platform, everything. And the thing that it's not even that they use all of our services. It's not even that they do it really well. You want to know what the number one thing is that he has done that no one else, and not only because it was one of our first clients, but even clients we've had since then, he has advertised on Facebook and Instagram every single day since 2017. How many NSRA members can say that every single day, night and day, 365 days a year for 7 straight years, they have had at least 10 to 20 ads running of product on Facebook and Instagram? And
the key is consistency.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Is that,
let me try this program for 2 months, see if it works. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't get the data at that point. You have to trust the system.
The amount of people that have said that social media doesn't work because they let their own opinion of do they like social media as a person, get in the way of their business success. Is a lot of people. They I don't like social media. Well, get over it, right? Like it's to your point, it's the newspaper today, and you have to get over. Nobody said I didn't like the newspaper. Like, it's where people's eyeballs are at. It's where people's attention is at. So that I like. Greatest Showman's that's a great movie too.
Yeah.
So kind of final question, then I'll ask one more to wrap up. What do you see as just like any big challenges that we can give quick advice for retailers over the next 12 months? We're sitting in March of 2024. Any headwinds or challenges that you see that you want to talk with retailers about, or you're going to be talking with retailers about over the next 12, 24 months?
Well, my thing is I think we need to be bullish. I think it's an election year. So I was just over in Italy with some retailers. NSRA takes people over to buying shows to do importing. Everybody over there, so are you worried it's an election year, business is going to be down? I don't think so.
Yeah.
We have a great economy. Interest rates will most likely go down. My son's an analyst for Oppenheimer, and they're still thinking we're not going to have a recession.
Yeah.
Poor president, he can't, hey, the economy's bad. Thought people think that, but then I was just at Costco. I couldn't get out of that place today. It was packed.
Yeah.
So people are still spending the money, and we're a consumer economy. You have to be careful. Like winter people, they got stuck with winter boots because we didn't have the snow until now, or last month, where they're trying to get rid of them. So the question for them is, if I have the cash, do I keep them for next year, maybe add another color? Or do I just get rid of them while it's cold outside and people might buy them at 75% off?
Yeah.
But everybody in Atlanta was really bullish about spring. They were thinking good. And, here's another stat. You and I are both number guys. And of NSRA members last year, we had a poll, 60% were up last year, 20% were flat, and 20% were down. And this was in a year that we worried about a late third or fourth quarter recession.
Yeah.
So, people have product. They have maybe too much product, so maybe margins were hurt last year, but still 80% of the people in the NSRA did well.
Very cool. I love it.
And as you and I said, did they market enough? Maybe they didn't market enough. They could have been up.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Well, I appreciate you so much, Mark, not only your friendship, but everything you do for our clients, who a lot of them are NSRA members. Looking forward to Hershey, Pennsylvania, coming up here in May.
It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, can't wait to see. I'm sure you can't release all the fun stuff you guys are going to be doing, but I'm excited to experience it and see you guys out there.
There'll be a Cody Fitzgerald's personal candy bar.
I love that.
I'll just say this: everybody will be making their own personal candy bar.
I'll say that's very touching, but I feel like everybody's going to be doing that.
Everybody will be able to do that. But
that's cool.
I think most people like chocolate.
Oh yeah.
It's a small town and a market we normally don't go to, but we just thought it would be fun to go there. It's up in the east where a lot of companies are.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be, as they call it, the sweetest place on earth.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for all you do for us, Mark. I really appreciate you very, very much. Thanks for all you do for our clients and the NSRA and the industry as a whole. And thanks for being on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. This is my passion, so my job is fun.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.